Hey IDC family, thanks for watching another IDC daily video. Have another conversation today with some of our members who have been living overseas in Beirut for the last couple years. And so we wanted to pipe them in and have a little bit of a conversation, just hear what things are like on the ground. Obviously there's been a lot going on over the last couple weeks, and so wanted them to be able to share about the way that their work has been going and then how it's pivoted and looked different over the last couple weeks. And so you can just kind of listen in as we chat for a little bit. So for the purpose of this video, I will be calling you guys Alex and Hannah. So thank you guys, Alex and Hannah, for joining us and taking the time to do this this video today.
Thank you, Shane, for having us.
It's a joy, man. Every time, every time. Okay, first let's just kind of orient everybody. Tell everybody. Obviously, we know where you guys are, but how long you've been there, what kind of work you guys are trying to do and have been trying to do just maybe before the last couple of weeks, what life has been like.
So we've been here about close to 2 years, and we have thus far been spending a lot of our time learning language. We are here, we want to do church planning and really work alongside the local church mostly to help them be able to build and grow and be able to reach people outside of their spheres that they normally reach.
Good. And how's it going? How's the language coming along?
She's a rock star. Me, not so much.
That's not true.
So I am trying. It's a daily thing, man. You know, it's one of those things where it's tedious at times, as you know, any type of study goes, and it's challenging, and sometimes you just want to launch your notebook or whatever out the window. But then the Lord gives you little moments where you feel like you're able to clearly communicate things, and you walk away thinking like, wow, I'm actually was able to hold a, you know, pretty
conversation
level, you know, normal conversation with somebody without too many like weird looks. And so those are great.
That's great. That's great. So language is coming along, and then as you guys have been able to do some kind of like helping out with ministry. I know the main focus is language right now. What has the ministry you guys have been able to help out with looked up to this point?
We've been involved in small groups throughout, kind of a lot like this, the small groups that you know, you'd have at IDC. Mm-hmm. But we've been able to come alongside believers in that and just do life with them and learn, you know, share and encourage and support them.
Yeah, they're specifically within the last couple months, I guess. We've started one for young guys specifically, and that's been really cool because there seems to be kind of a vacuum of, I don't know what you call it, mentorship. Like there's just not a lot of like solid older guys that are pouring into the younger generation. And I mean, I guess I'm saying I'm older now, but there's just a lot of guys hungry and just wanting like a big brother type figure. And so there's been several of us that have been able to kind of interact with them and develop pretty good relationships with those guys. Cool. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so you guys are kind of chugging along. Life is moving along and I know not everything is normal because of at least because of the coronavirus, but semi-normal. And then a couple weeks ago, there's this huge blast. Why don't you just kind of walk us through the dynamics that happened there? Like what happened, if anybody doesn't know, what do we know about it? And yeah, like what's that been like?
Well, about 2 weeks ago, August 4th, there was a huge ammonium nitrate blast. I think was nearly 3,000 tons worth of ammonium nitrate that ripped the Beirut port completely apart. The blast itself caused billions of dollars of damage throughout the city. Glass was blown out in apartments probably 2-3 miles outside of the radius of the blast. Injuries, there was a couple hundred that were killed, and then thousands others that were injured. Luckily, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the blast occurred after 6 p.m. and work stopped at 6 p.m. So had it happened just, I mean, really 10 minutes prior, the death toll would have been much higher.
Wow.
That's, you know, praise God for that.
Yeah.
Hannah and I were actually in the grocery store in the mall, and we thought the bomb had hit the building that we were in, because we were coming up an escalator and we felt this shock, and then the boom sound, I guess, and then immediately like debris came up from the lower levels, like of the parking lots. Dust came down from everywhere, and we thought at first maybe it was a bomb in the lower levels in the building that we were at, or, you know, live shooter or something. So we made our way to the emergency stairs, hopped in the car, ran back to the car really, and, you know, carrying a child, she huffed it really quick.
And a few minutes later, you caught up to her. Is that what happened?
I was out of breath, and we were, you know, making our way out, and that's when we got more news that it wasn't actually the building, because everybody had to stop wherever they were. They thought
it happened right here. Yeah.
And so
the damage, you know, was so extensive. Many people have like just a lot of need for plastic surgery and like shards of glass from their face. Even our home, like our windows are out. Hopefully we get them fixed tomorrow, you know, but it just really ripped through the city.
Wow. So. Wow. And so what have you guys been able to do just ministry-wise in terms of serving and helping out? Like, what does it look like? I assume in a lot of ways everything is pivoting a little bit to kind of helping care for and help serving in that situation. What have you guys been able to do the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we've worked with, we've partnered with local churches here, like immediately after the blast. I mean, we spent a day trying to clean up our apartment, and then we were able to join our local church, the one that we've been attending, in going around specifically the neighborhoods that they're involved in. It's a lower income area, and going to homes, and at that point was just to put up plastic sheets in place of a blown out window. And so we did that for a couple days right after the blast, and got into a lot of homes really. Then over the weekend, so I guess that next coming weekend, just there were a lot of volunteer teams that went down to the actual blast area, hand out food and water to volunteers. It was actually very overwhelming and saturated with volunteers that first weekend. The area that got hit the hardest was a part of the city called Jamezi and Carantina. And Jamezi, if you've seen pictures of Beirut that look very European-ish-esque, that's the part of town that you saw. Older buildings, a lot of restaurants, bars, things like a lot of Western influence. And a lot of those buildings have sustained heavy structural damage where they're just caving down in, or glass is shattered. So something that was beautiful got torn apart. And then Carantina is a part of town where I actually really don't know that I heard much about it before the blast, but it's a very, very, very impoverished area of town where it's almost forgotten in what I've read and what I've learned. And so one of our partners that our team has worked with over many years has really been helpful in getting into that community and helping families who have sustained injury, structural damage to their homes, just trying to build relationships. So through him, we've actually partnered up with two specific kind of platforms, I guess you could call them projects. One is kind of like a food truck type distribution. So instead of carrying all the stuff in, at once, we'll load that up and then we'll take it in. And it's actually served as a hub for conversation. A lot of people come up, get water or a cup of coffee, and a lot of non-believers are having gospel conversations around this caravan truck. And our partners are very bold, and it's very exciting and encouraging to watch them engage. I don't have all the language yet to be able to clearly express or present what I want without somebody else kind of stepping in and cleaning up my mess yet. But it's awesome to watch.
Cool.
And that has actually served as like a dual thing. It's also kind of like we call it an office. It's not really an office, where we have another team or another platform where we have 4 work crews that have gone into the Canantina area and just did some assessing the first couple of days, seeing what needed to be done. And up to now, the last count I think we had was we've been able to help 120 homes, either with getting windows or glass for windows,
wow,
or providing like cinder blocks and I guess dirt, I don't know what else, to be able to help repair like wall damage and stuff.
Very cool. That's great. Now, you guys were saying before we got on that this is obviously the quite literally the explosive thing that's kind of come on the scene, but there's been other things that have been, I think, like just compounding as far as life on the ground there that have made things pretty I don't know, severe in a lot of ways. Why don't you back up a little bit and tell everybody what else has been feeding into just kind of the state of things there in Beirut as you guys are trying to kind of learn and serve and minister to folks?
Definitely. So our first year here was great. From October to October, we just
living the dream.
Everything. In October, the first month of our second year here, hit, and that's when there were major protests that started, and what they call the revolution started. The government stepped down in last October, and it's been a different ball game since then. We've had there's just massive amounts of people protesting all the time. It's at different times it's been more violent than others, but we pretty much know how to navigate that. So that happened, and then come January, or a little bit after January, but coronavirus and COVID started happening, and by March our airport was closed completely. So our borders were completely closed, and at the same time, no shops were able to be open except for like grocery stores and things like that. They stayed open, but it was already, because of the revolution, there was a serious economic crisis that was taking place, and then you close all the businesses on top of that. And so we are at about 80% inflation since last October, and so the dollar has just, the Lebanese lira has just lost its value completely. So people who used to be very wealthy are essentially poor now. So they've lost all of their income and a future. So, we have these different things happening all at the same time, and then the blast hits.
Good night.
And we are like, really, another thing? The sense that you get here is that you're always teetering on the tipping point, like you're on the edge of like it's all going to fall apart. And so we definitely still feel very on the edge, and just trying to stay on this side,
Sure.
Not tip over to the other.
And I'll say, one thing that the blast kind of did was illuminate just the extensiveness of need here in Lebanon. So, like Anna said, like the devaluation, of the lira here and the economy crash, those that were in need are even more in need. So when you have like the blast took place and there's a lot of focus in that specific area, a lot of foreign aid, a lot of, food distribution, a lot of that's coming out. And what's happening is people from surrounding neighborhoods that are from the poorer neighborhoods or even from different parts of the country are being bussed in to try to get some of this, relief stuff.
Wow.
It's not that they were directly affected by the blast,
but there's opportunity.
The situation, it's an opportunity for them to get a meal. And so people that were scrounging in the streets know that, well, for this season, I can go down to this area if it takes me all day and get a bag full of food to take it home. And so it's just really illuminated the fact that the need here is extensive.
Wow.
And since the blast, our second government has now been forced to step down, and there were massive protests because of that. And so kind of after the blast and after these massive protests that got pretty violent, the COVID has just exploded. So now we're in another scenario where the beds are full at the hospital, or they're about to be at capacity. So
we're actually in the middle of another 14-day lockdown right now.
Oh, wow. Goodness. Man. So I can maybe assume a little bit, but why don't you just kind of put it in a bow for us about particularly ways that we can be praying for you guys and just calling out to the Lord on behalf of your work and ministry, but also the country. It's clearly one of those situations where the need is pretty incredible, and but we've got a great confidence in the Lord, and so how can we be crying out to Him on you guys' behalf?
One, just specifically in response to the work that we've been able to partner with, a lot of the areas that we're able to go into now are very conservative Muslim. And so just that the Lord would open up, opportunities to build relationships, to have conversations with people in that area, for one.
And also, just the situation in the country is not an easy one, and so really only the Lord can bring hope here. And so we just really would ask that you would pray for this country and the people here, that the Lord would use all of these various factors. Just really feels like the Lord's breaking down so much, or there's so much being broken down, that the Lord would use it for His glory and the good of many.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Like, there's, in the midst of all this destruction, there's kind of like this dualness. And when I speak to people, that one, it's like it's just another thing, but then they have this almost, they call it a false hope, but it is still hope that things could change. And so, a prayer of ours is that, that hope, they'd be sustained, and that the Lord would show His kindness, and bring some change.
Peace, right? Yeah.
That's really,
wow.
And Jesus is the only way that that's going to happen.
No doubt.
Honestly.
No doubt.
So.
Well, we're thankful for you guys. Thankful for your faithfulness there, and the many doors that the Lord's opening. We'll pray that He continues to open doors, and that He would just kind of show favor to the country as a whole. That there would be peace, that there would be healing and protection from, I guess, ongoing threats. And we're looking forward to continuing to be able to partner with you guys. So thanks for taking the time this morning to record with me.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, IDC, for watching. I want to encourage you to continue to pray for Alex and Hannah and the work that they're able to do. And we'll catch you next time.